Hey, Alex.
Hi, John.
You know what I hate?
I don't know. What do you hate?
I hate that we didn't watch The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. Instead, we watched the remake of God. I wanted to like this movie so much because it seemed like it was going to be like a Fast and the Furious. There's going to be Nicolas Cage being dumb and over the top and people stealing cars, Angelina Jolie being in her prime, like incredibly attractive, and just it was going to be bonkers and batshit and holy crap, Nicolas Cage doing like and screaming. And so
high octane.
It was just kind of tepid.
Yeah,
not very well.
That's
paced.
the best way to put it. Tepid and slow and tepid.
Yeah,
well, not even slow, but just I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of slow. It's not edited well, like pacing wise. Where this doesn't breeze by with the pace of a movie based around stealing a bunch of cars.
Well, that's something that I found interesting in terms of. I remember like eschewing this movie when it came out in the theaters.
Ooh, look at Mr. Fancy Vocabulary.
Yeah. Avoision. Yeah. I avoisioned this movie. But just because like, oh, this is just some high octane, stupid, fast, whatever. I'm going to go be a smart guy and go see Armageddon instead. Watching it now, it's so tame. Like scenes happen and there's not a quintillion cuts on every single shot. And so I kind of enjoyed it for that way. Is this look back of we were less stupid at one point and had like a more fixed attention span. Though at the same time, I absolutely decry the movie for being slow and like lacking in energy. That I think that would have helped.
Yeah, while watching this, it occurs to me that Jerry Bruckheimer is just slower, smarter Michael Bay.
Well, he's just the producer. Like he brings all these to light. So he was He
Oh yeah, I guess he's not the sorry. I get, but all of his movies feel like this. So I guess it's
the same feel certainly because like Tony Scott, like this movie had a lot of Tony Scott feel to it with the like blue, like the single cast of color on something like in a scene like when Delroy Lindo and Deadwood Guy are in the van and they're all blue for some reason, like the lighting is all blue.
I don't think I picked up on that.
Oh yeah, just like these hyper colors like that. It just felt like some of the old, what's his face, Tony Scott.
Yeah, Tony Scott. Is that Top Gun? Is that guy?
Yeah.
And
he was very associated with those guys. That was back when it was Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, and Don Simpson famously, like the two of them, really helped bring gay nightclub aesthetic to action movies, which is why action movies got kind of brighter and like you look at Top Gun and stuff like that. That kind of feeling of dudes hanging out in locker rooms became more of a thing.
No, and then the crescendo of that is Batman Forever, where it's just Technicolor gay orgy
that's
with
a whole
with
Other thing.
Freeze puns.
Yeah.
Or which I don't know if that's what with Mr. Freeze, but whatever, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Jerry Schumacher. Yeah, this just struck me. So it reminded me of like it was slow paced Transformers because although this came out well before Transformers, but the Megan Fox. It was like her character in Transformers is just Angelina Jolie in this. It's like the same kind of thing, but just kind of leisurely and which is nice because it's not seizure inducing like a Transformers movie, but it's also, I mean, this is a very boring movie for a movie about Steve. This should be wonderfully fast paced. I should have watched the whole movie and go, oh, I didn't have a chance to think about this and how dumb it is.
Right.
No, I had plenty of time to sit around going, oh, we're going to a different garage now, just talking to some old guy. Yeah, Robert Duvall. What have you... Oh, no.
It has the pacing of... More like the original. Like, so this is a remake of a exploitation flick from the 70s of the same name that was really just famous for just destroying a whole bunch of cars in the whole last sequence of the movie. So I was kind of waiting for that to happen. But it is kind of paced more like this 70s crime thing. Where
it is.
The first hour is set up to them doing this heist. And when it comes down to it happening, man, it's just like, and then they took the car. Then they got 50 cars. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't any, there was like a couple of moments of like, there were a couple of set pieces or whatever. But in general, it's just like, and then they got this car. And then they got this car. This isn't a problem at all. Now there's a kind of a hiccup, but whatever.
Yeah, and the hiccups are like handled really readily.
Yeah.
Like the electronic key aspect just grinds the story to a halt because there's no suspense. It's just well, they're smarter than the cops.
Yeah.
What are we going to do now? We're going to rob the impound lot, which seems to be the easiest place to get cars from. Also, another one of the more racist, awful scenes of the film. By the way, I mean, I think we should circle back and actually do the movie in order, but let's just hit on this now. This is an incredibly racist movie.
Yeah, but I still think Michael Bay could have just just goosed that up. Like,
that's true.
Because if you've seen that first Transformers movie, Anthony Anderson in that movie is embarrassing.
Which one was Anthony Anderson?
He was one of the 3 fat black computer guys.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Just
yeah. So
yeah,
this movie posits. So at one point, not Cedric the Entertainer, that is a car drive. What do you call that? A car driving teacher.
Chi McBride, I believe.
Yeah. So he's driving an Asian lady around. Hey, John, get this. The Asian lady, she's bad at driving.
Oh, that is hilarious.
And then this black fella that's teaching the Asian lady to drive just goes, "Hey, lady, I can't swim. You can't drive. You have to get used to it."
Yeah. Well, he says no. I believe he says I can't swim, so I'll keep my ass out of the pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to give him a little bit of dignity.
No, absolutely not.
Boy, that's just. I mean, that's not even that's not subtle racist. That's not accidental. That's just, hey, let's just spell out.
No, but it's one of those things that yeah, but he said it, so morally I'm okay laughing at it.
But I'm 100% sure this movie was written and directed by white people.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
But I heard a black guy say it, so it's okay. It's like the Chappelle Show thing, where it's like, well, I'm completely racist, but I'm laughing at what Chappelle did because I have the moral approval to do that.
Yeah, and then I've repeated notes every time he shows up. The tiny black guy with the glasses,
Mirror Man. Yeah,
is he supposed to be funny? Because I find him infuriatingly awful.
He thinks he's funny.
Are we supposed to?
No, I think we're supposed to think that he thinks he's funny. I think the movie's supposed to be like, look at this, he's this wacky guy. He's the comic relief. He won't stop talking. He's got a chip on his shoulder because he's a tiny little man.
But it plays like they linger on him adoringly, as if he's truly funny.
Yeah.
Not that it's it's shot as if he's comedically talented, but it plays as if we're meant to laugh at him.
Well, it's
awkward in every situation.
It makes me think of Robin Williams, where it's something where it's like Robin Williams just goes off on these tangents and I'm a fraud again, and then eventually there'll be maybe one joke in there that you're like, oh, that was kind of funny, but then it's surrounded by 5 minutes of him just free associating, just dying to come up with something, and it was like that. It was just he's just constantly talking and saying stuff, and then maybe a joke's gonna happen here.
Now that we've covered the inherent awful racism of the film, and I'm sure there's more of it, let's get to the meat of it.
All right.
His name is Memphis Rain.
Yes, it is. And it never that's a thing on the page, you just read that and be like, okay, yeah. His name. But people have to say that out loud. And as soon as people say it out loud, it sounds real dumb.
And one of the more awkward parts about this is the cops call him by his real first name. The kind of
I thought his real first name was Memphis.
No, because the cop calls him something else.
No, I don't remember.
The cop calls him Randall. The cop says Randall, yeah.
Oh.
Or some name, let's just say Randall. Who cares? It's something like that.
Let's be authorities on this movie. Yes.
Yeah, but look, I would be embarrassed for us if we were authorities on this film. Yeah. This is one of those ones that I feel like in order for us to salvage whatever small amount of self-respect both of us have, we can't know this movie up and down. Because that diminishes us and our brand. but that guy calls him. So the reason I bring this up is that means there's a backstory here that his name is Memphis. I'm not saying that would be an interesting backstory, but why establish it and not pay it off?
He just likes the Paul McCartney. I just thought he liked the Paul Simon album. The Graceland. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to Graceland.
Oh, and it was raining when he went?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the backstory.
Or the Walking in Memphis. That would have come out by that time.
Yeah, it would, John.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis.
Remember that thing I said about Robin Williams?
Oh, hey, that's where I got cocaine. This guy was walking over here. And he's like, oh, hallelujah. Doctor Who is in this.
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston said that this movie is something along the lines of, this movie was god-awful and I put a god-awful performance in it and I'm embarrassed by it.
Wow, but he's cool with Doctor Who.
No, he's actually pretty upset with Doctor Who. He walked out in a huff. There was a big deal with it.
Yeah, because for Doctor Who being a terrible show, he's awful in that show as well.
John, I'd never hit you before.
Yeah.
But I would notice that there's a TARDIS hanging right there, and there's a string of TARDISes. There's TARDI on the wall. Now, you take back what you just said about 9.
No, it's not a good show. I mean, like, the David Tennant stuff's okay, but he's...
Walk it back a little farther. Walk it back a little farther there, son.
That's as far as I'm going.
Oh, someone's getting a beating.
More like Doctor Who gives a shit, right?
I mean, I'm fine with that. You don't have to give a shit about it. Just don't say it's a bad show. I mean,
it's not good. It's good if you're a child.
Where's that Alexx cast theme? I gotta dust that off. So yeah, Christopher Eccleston he is shit.
Yeah.
Now, this is the beginning of the film is just introducing our cast of characters. There's Benicio del Toro. What the hell's that guy's name?
Way too many characters in this movie.
What's his little brother's name?
Kip Raines.
No, but what's the actor's name?
Oh, Giovanni Ribisi.
Giovanni Ribisi. Okay.
Mr. Scientology himself.
His friend, I think, is Scott Conn.
Yeah.
The kind of boxer-looking guy.
More like Scott Kant.
You mean the philosopher?
Yeah. No.
Immanuel Kant?
I'd rather he didn't, is what I mean.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, sorry. It
was a great joke.
I'm very smart. We were introduced to him as a character where he's describing giving himself the stranger.
Yeah, he invented it, according to the movie.
I mean,
because he claims he invented it.
1, no, you didn't. 2, what's that supposed to do for us?
Just tell us a little bit about Thumper, his character.
His name Thumper?
His name is Thumper.
Ugh.
That he's kind of a sleazebag. There's a lot of characterization in this movie that, like, fine, you want to give your character some life. For example, Christopher Eccleston's whole thing about, like, well, I'm an American, I hate your culture, and I love building things out of wood because metal is awful. Okay, fine. Like, that doesn't really matter. But it made the character seem like more than just, I'm a mob boss. That's how mob boss is. That's the traditional mob boss laugh.
Well, but in an English accent.
Right. And I think the same thing, where it's just, look at these guys, bro. Look at these bros hanging out. You like jerking off? This guy likes jerking off. Please identify with him.
I mean, you're correct. It's just loathsome and dumb to be in a movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's what's happening.
I mean, this wasn't too far off of American Pie. So, I mean, we were in that era of dumb shit.
But American Pie at least was charming.
I never saw it.
Let me put it this way. It's taken a good hard swing, baseball bat style swing at being charming, and probably, makes a little bit of contact with the ball. Like, you see what's happening. You're like, okay, I could see why this is just...
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm just saying that even if it's the greatest movie ever made, Hollywood looks at that stuff and goes like, well, this guy fucked a pie. People like crass stuff. Let's put this in this movie.
Yeah, Hollywood's just awful. And this movie is terrible. And Scott Conn should be murdered for this performance.
Yeah, I mean, because I liked him in the Ocean's movies. Well, the Ocean's 11 anyway.
So the movie gets kicked off with Kip is an asshole, and he steals a car and gets busted?
Yes. Yeah, they see the car that they need to steal is like a Porsche that's on display in a shop. And Kip's like, oh, I got this. Let me get my tool. And opens up the trunk of his car and pulls out a brick. And Mirror Man goes, that's not a tool, that's a brick. Thank you, movie. I wasn't sure about the joke, but now I got it.
Do you think on set he went, hell, she's mighty, mighty, and then for 7 minutes just mugged?
Yes. I can only imagine that's what happened. But anyway, they throw a brick through the window and then do stuff to steal the car. There's a lot of the car stealing is them just doing stuff. Like, you don't know what they're doing, which I was fine with. But it's like, okay, I don't know, wiggle this thing here and attach this thing here. Boom, I got a car. Fine. I don't need a primer on how to steal a car. So them driving fast and mucking around with the car leads to a cop chase, takes them back to the warehouse where all their other stolen cars are, that forces everyone in that warehouse, including the inventor of the stranger, Thumper, to leave, like to have to bail on the place, including their black light that shows they had a list on the wall of all the cars they were supposed to steal written in like hyper some kind of pen that was only clear under black light. I had to run away from that, break the black light in the process, narrowly escape the cops, but they have to abandon everything that they've done thus far.
That's right. So that's the impetus of the movie. That's when they call up old big brother Memphis Rain, played by Nicolas Cage.
Memphis Rain, yeah, because his Atlee, one of his associates, played by Will Patton, who's like a total that guy actor, but I only really remember him from, I'm bringing it up again, Armageddon. He was one of the soldier guys in Armageddon, but he was the guy in the leather jacket. One of the guys in the leather jacket, but the guy with the slick back hair.
Was he the one that didn't want to close his eyes? He didn't want to fall asleep because he missed you, babe, and he didn't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, he does not want to miss a thing. But
okay, I remember him.
And that thing he doesn't want to miss is Memphis Reigns. That's why he goes down to wherever Memphis Reigns is. And well, that was actually a thing. So this movie has text that comes up at different times to let you know when the countdown starts. But at one point, it gives you like a location thing. You know, like war movies will be like, oh, they're in Abbottabad or whatever.
Yeah.
Where this was just like at the steel mill. Why did I need to know that? And I think that's where their hideout was. It's like very early on in the movie, but it like gives you this little title thing.
That's right.
Yeah, and then it never does it again for anything else in the movie.
Yeah, that is right. I didn't even pick up on that.
Huh? Okay.
It was so early in the movie. I guess I just assumed they were gonna keep doing that.
No,
and
yeah, they did
just
not.
Kind of left it there.
I think I just wanted to introduce you to like, hey, this, you might see this text again later. I don't know. It was a very weird choice. But anyway, yeah. So Atlee, knowing that that they're in trouble with Calitri, the British or
Doctor
Scottish
Who?
Doctor Who.
No, he's English. He's Yorkshire.
Was that the accent he was doing? I thought he was Scottish.
Yorkshire.
You know what I'm thinking of that? Because Shallow Grave, the Danny Boyle movie with Ewan McGregor, and it was like the thing that put Danny Boyle on the map before he did Trainspotting.
Trainspotting was the first one. I didn't even know there was
check
something.
out Shallow Grave. It's a lot of fun. It's a sort of Hitchcock. These three flatmates. This guy, like, they're looking for a new flatmate. This guy moves in, mysteriously dies, and has this trunk full of money that he leaves behind. And so it's like, well, what do we do with the money? Who's after this money? It's a very kind of small little crime movie, but it's very good. And he's very good in it. Christopher Eccleston.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, you should.
And then just remember how great Doctor Who is.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yes, Yorkshire accent. I know that because I read Wikipedia, and it said he used his natural Yorkshire accent. And I might be wrong about Yorkshire, but it's some
I think you're
sub-variety of English.
I think it's at 100% Yorkshire. And I took it for granted. So apologies to Christopher Eccleston.
Yes, and apologies to Moffat and Russell.
Nope. Anyway, so Calitri he kidnaps Kip and threatens to kill him because he screwed up the job, and then Atlee's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get Memphis, the best car thief that ever was. Hopefully, get them out of this jam. Memphis, what he like runs a go-kart?
Yeah, he's doing like go-kart racing, which okay,
yeah, it was cute.
Yeah. Fun little joke. It's like, hey, boy, my little brother's in trouble, so I guess I'll go back and see what I can do about that. And he goes back in town.
One last job.
And he meets with Robert Duvall, who used to be in good movies.
Yeah, well, this is one of those things like I wonder, like I'd almost want to look at the timeline for this because famously, like John Cusack was in Con Air to help like get funding to make Grosse Point Blank. And I wonder if this is one of those things where Robert Duvall's like, I really want to make The Apostle or whatever movie he was making at the time. And they're like, all right, hey, why don't you be in Gone 60 Seconds? And we'll make that happen for you.
I know nothing about this, but that sounds like such a legitimate...
Yeah. Because I don't think Robert Duvall was like, I read the script and I loved it.
Yeah. So they need Robert Duvall, who's Otto. And one of the beats there is that they listen to car noises, which marks 2 weeks in a row, or 2 shows in a row, wherein... or one of our lead characters just listens to the thing they like like Lebowski listens to bowling. These guys listen to cars and like kind of laugh about it. And Otto, Robert Duvall, he's way too happy about listening to that engine. Like way too happy.
Well, I think he's just happy to listen to the engine with Memphis. And I also just put it together just now that his name is Otto.
Yeah.
And Ugh.
You know, that's the same thing from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get it. Yeah.
It's like AUTO, but it's A-O, two T's, O, auto, O-T-T-O.
It's good writing is what that is.
Good writing.
Well,
is
but
what
so
that is.
Before he meets,
I fucking hated this movie.
Before he meets with Otto, like Memphis meets with Calitri.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the setup to the film.
Yeah, because Calitri, like, they put Giovanni Ribisi, who's just greasy as hell in this movie. Like, he's just nasty. Put him in a car crusher. Put him in a car. Put the car in a car crusher. Start crushing him, and then Calitri's like, "Look, you either take over his debt, you rescue him and bail on us, and I'll murder you and your whole family, or you just shoot me and everyone dies." So he's like, Memphis is like, "Okay, I'll do your stupid job, and I'll get your 50 cars in this very limited time frame because I don't want to make you look like an asshole, because that would be awful." Because I thought that was kind of interesting, because it wasn't that I need that Calitri needs these cars, otherwise he's going to get murdered. He's more just like, no, it looks bad for me as business that I let this client down once.
Yeah, which makes sense on a that seems like legitimate criminal action.
I totally get it, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, it's like, I'm going to get a negative Yelp review. You better get this done. It just didn't feel like the stakes were that high, other than like he was going to kill these people.
Well, I mean, I think when very high level criminals give you a bad Yelp review, I think it's much more,
sure,
much more dangerous than, the service was a little slow at Mr. Flape's house of burritos.
Yeah, and to be fair,
I don't
know his relationship with this South American guy. It could have been Pablo Escobar.
I'm gonna say strained at best.
Fair enough.
So yeah, he's under coercion. Nicolas Cage agrees. All right, I'll take on this job. I'll steal 50 cars by
72 hours
by Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And talk about not being easy like Sunday morning.
Yes,
because he has to steal a bunch of cars.
Good save.
Unlike that song.
Yes, which does not involve stealing any cars.
Well, I don't know. I haven't listened to all the lyrics.
So Memphis goes to visit his mentor, Robert Duvall. And they keep, several times, they cut to Robert Duvall's wife, who, she's there. But they treat her like a character in the movie, and she's absolutely not. Like, she could just be not there.
Yeah, I wonder if she had more scenes that mattered and they just got cut.
Because there are way too many characters in this movie, and everyone's scenes need to get cut.
There's a lot of characters in this movie, and I'm going to say 40% of them are unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Particularly Giovanni Ribisi's crew are largely Ferb and Thumper, and
Thumper needs to stay.
Like there's plot elements that make them say, but I'm just saying you could have written it where you ejected, handed those responsibilities off to other people.
Well, I like him having one person in his crew because somebody's got to fuck up that isn't him. Mm. So you need like a Thumper to be the guy that got the hotkeys.
I don't think you need a Ferb.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. So Ferb is just pointless. Like his character. We'll get into Ferb a little bit later, but
no, is he the one that's good at ordering pizzas? Because there's one guy. Yeah, there's one guy.
That's what they literally say about it. Yeah, the movie just lets you know. Yeah, we have this. I'm so sorry I wrote him into this, but he's here. But yeah, so they then you get this whole after Nicolas Cage explains to Otto what's going on. They do this whole recruitment montage of them trying to call former contacts, and they're either in jail or something, which I actually kind of liked. That like Nicolas Cage has been out of the game so long that all these people that he was involved with are in jail or have skedaddled out of town.
Yeah, there's one beat in there I liked where their two phone calls were like found out that one guy's with the other guy and they ran off together, but you only found that was a nice little sequence. As much I hate saying that because this movie's not good.
That's immediately undercut by Nicolas Cage calling someone that's having sex. Like you hear someone first like, "Oh, you sound busy," and then they just are on the phone for a little bit. I'm like, "Oh man."
That was awkward.
Yeah.
There's weird humorous beats in this movie that they just don't land at all.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of moments where it's like Nicolas Cage is about to get real Nicolas Cage about it, and nope. Like him pretending to be buying a car, that scene, him listening to Lowrider to get pumped up. all these things could be like, yeah, just open up. Like, at this point, Nicolas Cage had done Face Off. We were aware of Nicolas Cage as being Nicolas Cage. Let him flex a bit. That's what people want to see.
He was rather reserved and stoic in this, which this is one of those roles that didn't need that. I mean, this required...
He was bringing adaptation Nicolas Cage to a Face-Off Nicolas Cage party.
And I didn't think I could miss over-the-top Nicolas Cage, but I did in this, because every time I was on, it just, nothing happened. It was just like, this is just, anybody could have been that role. Like, that could have, but yeah.
Like, I understand that his character, that Memphis is supposed to be a little bit more of the cool, collected one, the man with the plan, but there are a couple moments that really just needed that extra oomph.
Yeah, and also just why cast Nicolas Cage then?
Yeah.
Like you could cast a good actor, cast someone that's nice to look at. Like this is just a weird choice. So they do all this calling to try to get their various cohorts. They figure out not Cedric the Entertainer's around.
Chi McBride.
Chi McBride
as Donnie Astracke.
No, Chi McBride. Is that the guy from Pushing Daisies?
I believe so.
Okay, I
didn't watch all that show.
Oh, that show was great. But
he was Emerson Codd on Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, he was so good on that show. That show was wonderful. If you ever get bored and go back and watch it, people at home, watch that instead of this movie. Mm-hmm. And then they go to recruit Angelina Jolie, who plays.
Well, they get down to the bottom of the list, and all that's left is Sway and Sphinx. And
yes,
Otto's like, no way, these people suck. Sphinx, played by Vinnie Jones, the footballer come actor.
Now that's the guy from Midnight Meat Train, right?
It is the guy from
Midnight Meat Train. Which is crazy because he's a mute in that one too.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Although I do like him in the Guy Ritchie movies. He's not a great actor, but he's an imposing figure.
Yeah, he's got a good face.
Yeah. And yeah, he's the strong, silent guy, which they present him. He's working in a morgue and they call him up and he doesn't talk. And so you think, like, okay, this is the quiet guy that's going to go crazy. And no, that doesn't happen. Like, he seems like he's a tough guy and sometimes acts a little erratically, but not in a way that amounts to anything.
Yeah, he's just kind of a badass that can handle himself, which would have
been cool if they had scenes where that needed to happen, but it didn't.
Wait, he drove really well that one time when they're in the parking garage.
That could have been anybody, though. Like, it doesn't
That's
really
true.
matter.
Yeah.
But, and then Sway, Sarah Sway Wayland, who's apparently Nicolas Cage had a fling with at one point. And she like, I don't know. I found this very eye rolling. Where when he goes to recruit her, she's working in a mechanic shop. She's under a car, or anything, and she kind of wants nothing to do with him. And she's like, "Oh, what time is it? Oh no, I'm late for work. And now that I'm going straight, I work 2 jobs." And of course, she's a bartender. Like there was something about that, like, oh, this hot chick that fixes cars and serves drinks. Come on, bro. What's hotter than that?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why she's in this movie.
Well,
again, like another character, like we didn't need this character.
Just to be fair, though, she's unbelievably attractive.
Sure, she's an attractive lady, but like I don't.
No, like she's like remarkably attractive. I completely forgot just how off the hook. Like you're probably one of the top 10 most attractive people that's ever existed, ever. And I forgot about that because she looks all weird and alien-y now because she got weird looking. But boy, she is a looker in this movie. Blonde
dreadlocks in this movie.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I got a thing for girls in dreadlocks, which kind of helped a little bit.
Fair enough.
I tend not to like the people that are in them, but just visually,
that's a style you like.
Yeah, that I like. Because talking to them, usually, like, you end up talking about who they've, like, followed around on tour, and then you just kind of zone out and go, I really have to remember that looks don't equate to a personality. And then I don't remember next time I see a cute girl with dreadlocks. But.
Yeah. Here's a tip. Just don't talk to other people. It served me well.
Done and done.
Like people don't know that we kind of make this podcast like in a sort of dotted way where I just say words into a microphone and then you say words into a microphone miles away. And then we all just cut it together to make it sound like we're having a conversation.
Yes, I'm in a hyperbaric chamber right now.
Keeps me young.
But, so they go to recruit her, and she's like, "Hey, I'm not really into it. I want to. I've gone straight." Which, because there's so many people in this movie, you don't get enough backstory. But she went straight. Why?
Well, they kind of mention it in the scene later when it's her and him. Is that she's just like when she wasn't with Memphis stealing cars, it like wasn't even worth it steal the car. She didn't get the same thrill that she did when she was with him.
Oh, I guess I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
Not really pick up on that. I admit, I looked at my phone a lot during this movie.
Because it doesn't matter.
This movie did not hold my attention. Yeah. And I felt bad. I actually rewound a couple of times.
It does a lot of telling and not a lot of showing.
Yeah, there was a full scene. I had to go back like 10 minutes because I realized I was on Reddit. I was watching the movie and I went, oh shit.
Well, same thing, talking about like sort of forgotten scenes and there being too many characters. There's a scene that we skipped over where Nicolas Cage visits his mom, played by Grace Zabriskie, who I love as an actress. She's like famously was Laura Palmer's mom, Sarah Palmer on Twin Peaks.
Oh, that's where I knew her.
She's so great in like Big Love.
Yeah.
Like she's just a great that guy actor or that lady actor, however you want to do it. But the whole thing was that he's got to protect his little brother, and she wanted him to get the little brother out of it. Like you could have just not done that. You could have just not had that scene. And found some other way to do that than waste a whole bunch more time with this. It's so bloated in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and again, so slow because we're dealing. I mean, we're going on at this point in the movie. We got to be half an hour in.
Yeah,
and nothing's happened. Like this is a.
It's all just a gearing up. Like and it'd be worth it. It would be fine if it amounted to, okay, the next hour is just insane action. But that's not the case at all.
No, it's a lot of just kind of leisurely beats. Yeah.
So in the interim with this, you start to get introduced also to the detectives that are on this case, Castleback and Drycoff.
Yes, Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah, played by Delroy Lindo and Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, he's very baby-faced in this.
Yeah, he's very young. Delroy Lindo is one of those guys that I like in everything he's in. Like he's just got like there's something about him. He really carries the scene, which sucks because he's Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, like I think he has a very commanding presence, and I like him as an actor. I think he can play a heavy really well, but he can also like play heroic characters well or drama, whatever. But I feel like he got shoehorned into Hollywood where they're like, oh, well, if we can't get Samuel L. Jackson, we'll just get Delroy Lindo. And then Samuel L. Jackson stopped saying no to anything.
Yeah.
And is just in absolutely everything. So Lindo's like, well, shit.
That's true.
But anyways, yeah, so they're on the case. They are the ones that kind of they're doing the aftermath, looking at the crime scene that Kip and his crew fled earlier, and that's when they find like the black light shards, and he's like, "Oh, what's this? I better figure out what this is later." While that's happening, Memphis is starting to like lay out the plan to everybody how they're going to do it. They start scoping out all the cars, and they give the cars lady names to make it seem like they're not talking about like a PT Cruiser. We're going to call this one Tony, or I don't know the names they give to the cars, but so they can say lady names.
So your first thought of lady names is Tony.
It's Tony and a PT Cruiser. Yeah, I'm a normal dude.
Yeah,
John. I think of fancy cars and ladies. I think of Tony Braxton and a PT Cruiser.
It makes me one step worse than you. I was thinking of famed author Toni Morrison.
Oh, that's great. Toni Morrison is great too.
Yeah.
Hot lady.
Yeah. All right. Minivan and Toni Morrison. Yeah. Let's rock this shit.
I got a Honda Odyssey. Toni Morrison.
Oh, just on that note, because I'm not going to remember it later. There's one unremarkable car. They steal just like an SUV from some lady at one point. Yeah. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, why was that so special?
That is like the most unremarkable car I've ever, or maybe like back in the 90s, that was like something that we've forgotten, but that was.
Yeah. I need a Honda Civic, and not just any Honda Civic. This one has automatic windows.
Yeah, like if it's from the 80s, that would be like a minivan with wood paneling down the side.
But the big one is this Ford Shelby GT500 that he's named Eleanor, which is a holdover from the original version of this movie. Is they wanted the same car, and there's different versions of it that show up, but they decide to name it Eleanor in the movie. So that's a callback to the original.
Yeah, I never saw the original.
It's not great.
Now I'm not gonna, because this movie's awful.
I mean, it's a little bit more like the original movie, there wasn't really a script. They just knew they wanted to crash some cars. There's a scene of a trail derailment, and he just like worked into the movie because a train derailed near where he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. See, that's 70s guerrilla coke-fueled filmmaking.
Yeah, and so actually this came out of it because he was going to make the guy behind it, H.B. Halicki, if I'm saying that correctly, they were going to make a sequel in 1989 but he died, and so then his wife, or his widow,
Tony,
helped get this made. Yeah, Tony P.T. Cruiser. Yeah. Look, there's two things I know: it's women and cars.
No, going back to women and cars, let me ask you this. I have a note in my file, and I just want to see if you remember it, because I don't. In quotes, self-indulgent wiener conversation.
Oh, yes. Okay.
What happened there?
Okay.
Because I'm curious, because I've forgotten. This was 2 days ago, but I've already forgotten.
It's not even, you have so many notes to yourself that just say that. Well, that's one of the things, because they're figuring out, they're scoping out the cars that they need, but they're also in the process of that figuring out how to get them. And so Nicolas Cage, to try to do some scouting work, pretends to be some rich asshole buying cars at a high-end auto dealer.
That's why I made the note.
And they point to, the guy points to some Ferrari or something like that. Because Nicolas Cage's like, I'm an A-lister and I can't get in anywhere. Saturday nights are very lonely for me. Now, this was like, this was getting to Nicolas Cage.
That's why I made the note, because we almost got a Nicolas Cage scene and it didn't happen.
Yeah, what I would love, this movie would be a lot better if you had several scenes like that. And at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little Nicolas Cage-shaped outline that would slowly fill with like a meter going up, and then so it gets close in the scene. Oh no, not yet, and then it builds up, and you finally get a Nicolas Cage scene. And it hits that top, and then you get the bees, not the bees.
Well,
yeah, that's the performance. But then it you get a little animated thing, and it goes Nicolas Cage. Yeah, like that minimum wage. They might be giants. So. Yeah. And then boom, it goes down. That would make this movie 1 billion times better.
I mean, you're right, and I think we should write to the estate of someone. So that was self-indulgent wiener.
So he says, because he's like, I'm A-list and I can't get in anywhere, so I need a car. And he's like, well, how about this? I think it's a Ferrari. He shows him something. It's like, I see 3 of those parked in front of a Starbucks, and I think, Los Angeles is full of self-indulgent wieners. And I don't want to be that. And that's when the guy's like, well, we have this other better car in a warehouse. Nicolas Cage is like, what else is in that warehouse? And then it moves on to the next.
Yeah, that was totally obvious. So the other reason I pointed out is this movie PG-13?
Yes.
This movie would have been a lot better if it was R.
Yeah.
Because 1, Angelina Jolie boobs. 2, they wouldn't have said self-indulgent wiener.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad they did, though. Like that.
Yeah, you're right. I take that back. Yeah, at least that was something for me to type in my file.
Although I almost would have liked it better if this was just a stream of F-bombs throughout the whole movie. But then in this scene, Nicolas Cage says self-indulgent.
Correct.
Wiener.
That is the best way to do it. We've now rewritten. Dearest Mr. Bruckheimer. So it's around this point that they have the foot chase where Kip and him get caught by thugs. Maybe I don't remember who they're running. Yes, they're being chased by thugs with guns. And they're running through the back streets of Los Angeles.
There's been a scene that happens where...
It was outside of the bar at Sway's. He gets in a fight with this...
He gets in a fight with Master P. Rapper Master P, famous for Make 'Em Say...
Wait, was that Master P?
No.
No shit!
Yeah, that was Master fucking P.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which again, so... Fast and the Furious, so this movie's got Master P. Fast and Furious got Ja Rule.
Oh, it's so weird because I'm so into Golden Shower play. You would think I would know.
No,
that.
different guy. No, it's just the letter P.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who that is. Yeah. Sorry.
Entirely different genre. And he's like a former car thief, someone from Nicolas Cage's old life that's giving him shit. And that's when Sphinx comes on the scene and blows up their car to defuse the situation.
Yeah.
So they're pissed at him. So in trying to scope out. And again, scenes that don't need, none of this pays off. None of this needs to go, leads to anything other than this scene. Nicolas Cage and Kip trying to steal a car, and they encounter Master P again and his gang of thugs. And they kind of corner them inside a diner. Nicolas Cage escapes into a diner because there's a cop car parked outside.
Well, first there's this full foot chase through the kind of backyards of L.A., which... It's completely pointless. That's I just wanted to, because again, characters we don't care about running away from people I don't know, and then eventually they see cop cars outside of that diner. Let's go run into the Waffle House or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, and then so Master P and his crew are sitting outside, we can just wait. We'll just wait it out. And then Nicolas Cage, and it's shot from outside the diner. The camera's never inside the diner with them. And so they muffle the audio. They kind of muffle Nicolas Cage's voice like you're trying to hear him talk through the window. And he's like, "Cop car! We can stay in here forever." So he's in the restaurant screaming this.
Yeah, presumably right next to a cop.
Like a normal person. Yeah.
But also there's a cop in there.
Yeah, and no one cares.
The cop doesn't go, "Why, pardon me, sir, why?" Also, why not just approach the cop and be like, those men out there have lots of guns.
A code of, I don't know, not wanting to do that.
A code of screenwriting problems.
So yeah, then they go through this whole machination where Nicolas Cage like distracts. There's a big rig out front, and Nicolas Cage is like, "Okay, Kip, go. I have this perfect plan." Sends Kip out. Nicolas Cage awkwardly distracts the big rig driver, which I actually enjoyed. Because he's just trying to make conversation. Like, "Oh, how do I drive that thing? I gotta go to trucking school. Can I get you like a scone or something? Because I'm gonna have the waffles." Just like the interaction is really super awkward. And it doesn't feel like, "Oh, I'm putting on an act here because I'm normally the super cool guy, but this is just like I'm playing awkward to try to get this going." I feel like that's actually what he's doing. Like he's just floundering. So credit to Nicolas Cage in that scene because I liked him.
But still could have gone further.
No, it could have gone more cagey.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. But so while he's doing that, Kip goes outside and hooks up the Master P's car to the back of the big rig with some, those things you have lying around all the time, giant tensile strength steel cables. And the Master P doesn't notice him making noises on the car. So the truck ends up driving away and pulling the axle off Master P's thing, and we've wasted 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. One, why? That car would have to go. That truck would have to be going pretty damn fast for that to work out that way. Two, they totally would have noticed the Kip setting the thing up. And three, if Kip could sneak out like that, why wouldn't they both just sneak out?
Yeah, like there's just like this scene. There's no like. This isn't like a character beat thing. Like I haven't learned anything new about these characters. I know that they're crafty. They're awesome car thieves. I can see them getting out of sticky situations in ways that don't just feel like padding, other than just being like, well, we have to put a rapper in a movie. So,
and so the next scene is my favorite scene in the movie, I think.
Or is this the electric key scene?
Oh no, I think that already happened. Is where we find out that the electric keys are being monitored.
Yes.
Because the two cops go and talk to another character actor.
Ira Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, again, another character I liked. He was on the Ellen sitcom before it was just called Ellen. Like, I think it was just called Ellen. Like, back when it first started, it was her and this guy, played by Ira Gross.
He's been around, yeah. That guy's fine. And so turns out that the cops are going to know about these keys.
Yeah, so because the Mercedes need special laser keys to get in. And the plan to get into those cars, Scott Kahn is like, "Hey, I'm just going to go into a Mercedes thing and muscle this guy till he gives me keys." And this guy, I guess, was a felon. And so I don't know what Scott Kahn's plan about like blackmail or something, but they just make it sound like he goes in and is like, "Yo, I want keys." He's like, "Okay, if you're going to give me money for keys."
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, which is as exciting as this movie should be. So yeah. Then the cops figure out, and I don't even know how they get. Oh, because they figure out that a guy working at the Mercedes dealership has like a sheet, has a rap sheet, and so they go to shake him down and discover that that's the plan.
Yeah, and it works, so they're gonna know. But then, forgot that. Then the best scene in the movie happens, is the cop Delroy Lindo rolls up to Otto's garage.
Yes.
And he sees this fine Cadillac that what's his name? Spud.
Ferb has just stolen a car. He's like, "You guys said I couldn't do it, but I stole a car." And they're like, "Why did you steal a car off the list? That's not on the list. That's really dumb." Turns out this car also has like keys and keys of heroin in the trunk.
Yeah, he steals a car because he sees keys in it in a really bad neighborhood, and they're like, "You fucking idiot. Why do you think keys are in there?" Because that's a car that no one in that neighborhood would be dumb enough to steal, because that's a very bad man's car. And Ferb is like, "Oh, this is an unfortunate situation I've gotten myself into. What could make this situation worse?" And raised, dramatic tension. Mm-hmm. "Oh no, here's Delroy Lindo walking in. He's gonna, that's gonna be, but we fought over this heroin. Now there's a pile of heroin on the ground. This is so much tension," except it's not tense at all.
Well, see, I actually liked the scene. It just, in the rest of the movie, it didn't matter. Like that, because nothing else happens with the car or anything. It's just this weird little moment that I almost wanted to call it a MacGuffin, but it's not that. But it's just the scene where we need to have this awkward moment where the cop almost gets us, but then like the car just goes away. Like they get out of it, and I don't know. It didn't have that same tension, like you're saying. It didn't have that, but it still was played tense. Like I still liked the scene, but in the context of everything else around it, it didn't work.
Yeah, I didn't like it because a number of things. One is Delroy Lindo, the him revving the Cadillac and getting overly excited. It just ugh. But
well, I also started thinking about them like the actual garage is just this tiny garage, and they all just die.
That'd be awesome.
Like,
what a great end of the movie.
Rev it up, and they all just get carbon monoxide poisoning.
Okay, so I'm a cop and I'm walking into a auto garage thing for and he thinks car thieves are there.
Yeah.
Why would he make the assumption that some powder on the ground is heroin?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that's the part that's why there's no tension there, because there's probably all sorts of solvents and chemicals and powders and stuff in a garage. Like,
but it might give, because of where it is, it might give him more of a reason to look into the trunk. And possessions being 9/10 of the law and all that, they would be screwed.
Yeah, I still think that's a weird stretch because they're not. It's not like he's walking in thinking heroin.
Yeah, but he's looking for something. He's looking for a reason to bust him, and he wants to get in the car and see what they've done with it. Because it's like, why do you have this nice car or this like shitty Cadillac when you have all these other super nice cars? There's something amiss here. So anything like even seeing that powder, he'd be like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and then him knowing about cars. This is the first year that they have the electric seats or whatever. Yeah. Oh God.
Now, see, I feel like this was when I kind of started to think like that this movie is for people that like cars but don't want to like actually see cars drive. They just like talking about it. It's like this is a movie about baseball stats. I don't want to see any baseball going on, but I want to argue about stats on the back of a baseball card.
Yeah, NPR's Car Talk, the movie.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know what happens next. My next note is the low rider pump up scene, and I think there's stuff in between.
There's definitely stuff in there. Yeah. So like they get out of that, and essentially it's like, so the cops are kind of onto them, and they're starting to kind of try to stake them out, and are watching them kind of stake out cars. And they see at one point Nicolas Cage and Giovanni Ribisi are like in this neighborhood, and Delroy Lindo and the other guy, Oliphant, are in a van, and they see like Nicolas Cage just kind of scoping out this car, like, okay, he's doing research. They're taking pictures of him, and then this car like pulls up in front of them, like pulls into another driveway because they're in a driveway. I'm like, oh crap! And then they move driveways. So the people that live in these houses are just fine with this happening.
I was thinking that too.
It's minor, but it's. I was thinking
that too. It's like, yeah, if I lived there, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing in my driveway, dude?
Because that pays off later. In a scene where Nicolas Cage goes to steal a car, but he's noticed that he senses something's up, that van has moved, and he doesn't feel comfortable, and he bails on it. But so yeah, this starts then like the whole montage of them stealing cars starts, and they know that some of these cars have been put in an impound. I think the stuff that Kip had stolen previously. So that's a huge section of the list.
The three Mercedes. No, what they're getting from the impound is the three Mercedes, because he still had the keys to those of the previous attempts on Mercedes.
Yeah, because he went to go pick up the keys from Ira Gross, and that's Ira Gross calls in to Delroy Lindo to like, hey, this guy got the keys, start tracking him. And so they're breaking into the impound, and that was a moment with Mirror Man that was. Just
that's when he sings Tina Turner. Or something like that.
He's dressed like Huggy Bear basically.
It's so bad.
And like it's trying to like race all like, hey man, I got a Volvo in there. How come you can't find my Volvo? It's racing this whole stink, and the guy working in the booth at the impound lot is being distracted while Nicolas Cage and those guys get in there and steal the cars. It's like, I don't have your Volvo, and it keeps going. And at one point, he's about to look at the monitor, the security monitor. And Mirror Man goes like, hey man, look at this. And he has a small Barbie doll that's dressed scarcely, and he makes her dance.
Yep.
What the hell was that?
That was a scene that happened in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds starring Nicolas Cage.
the writer, people on set, they went like, yeah, no, this is the best thing we can come up with. Like, why wouldn't we have him do that? That's a normal thing that the guy's just not like, okay, like, I'm going to walk away from you. You're a crazy person. I don't know. It just was so stupid. Like, it was just very insulting.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... That may be the low point of the film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of low points in this movie, but that may be the one for me.
I know he'd already made a movie by this point, but there's part of me that wants to imagine that Michael Bay saw that and went, oh, I can make movies.
Oh, during this, not Cedric the Entertainer is stealing a car and then almost gets carjacked while doing it.
Yeah.
And he punches the carjacker across the face and starts yelling at him for how inelegant his car stealing is.
Because he's not a professional. He's just this
shitty
car.
And he says, you need a role model. And I found that actually somewhat amusing.
Oh, yeah.
And I hated myself for it.
Yeah.
Because that guy's good and he's fun. But it's so dumb.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was dumb, but like he's charming enough that I'm like, yeah, I laughed. Anyway.
So we're around this part. Here's another awkward scene, and again, doesn't fit in a PG-13 movie, where Memphis and Sway, who I kept thinking her name was Swig because she was a bartender, are staking out these kind of yuppie houses because he's going to steal a
sports car
number followed by other things. I don't know anything about cars.
Oh, which before we even get to that, real quick as an aside, the scene where she shows up. So they've had this whole meeting, like when he's recruited everybody, they're having this whole meeting about like, here's what we're going to do. And they get to the docks and she rolls up like on a bike and was like, oh, what's that? And like she turns her back, like there's going to be this dramatic scene of her taking off her helmet, hair flowing down. None of that's in there. They just like, she's like, who's that? And she walks up to him and like turns her back to him, goes to reach out the helmet. And then it cuts, it was like, this is Sway. And it cuts back, and she's just looking at them. Like, hey, really? I'm Sway.
I didn't even
I think they were going to do that, but like her awful blonde dreads were probably just like turds falling out of that helmet.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But, and then I was like, yeah, no, she hasn't been a part of any of the conversations thus far, but it's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, she's caught up.
Yeah, I felt like they had like 2 days to shoot with Angelina Jolie, and like that's it.
You're probably right.
But yeah, so they have this scene where they're kind of commiserating over their lost relationship or what happened, and you hear a little about him bailing and her being angry at him that he bailed and leaving car stealing because it wasn't the same. And the whole time this is happening, this couple inside, the reason they're having this conversation is because the couple inside is like about to bang in front of these like wall of glass windows, and they're just uncomfortable standing outside waiting for that to happen. So they just bide their time in their Nicolas Cage's fancy ass car.
Well, it's not the biding their time part that I found uncomfortable. It's when they start kind of almost making out, and she's like, oh, you want to be on the gear shift. And like Nicolas Cage starts using like kind of car metaphor to talk about fucking.
Yeah, because they
he's
talk
like,
about...
oh yeah, put it in my camshaft. Yeah, my camshaft connects to the rib boat or whatever the fuck, I don't know how cars work.
Yeah, because they're talking about what's the bigger thrill, stealing cars or having sex. It's like, what about having sex while stealing cars? And then then they start just doing car guy stuff that I don't get. And she like straddles a gear shaft and grabs it. There's very sexually charged imagery that I found rather upsetting, frankly.
I don't know if the audience at home knows this. John's 8.
Yeah, no, I don't get it.
But again, PG-13 film, just really awkward. Just like, it just doesn't.
Because I mean, it's hey, teenage boys.
I guess.
Yeah, we're not going to show you boobs, but how about this? But yeah, eventually they're able to steal the other car, and Angelina Jolie is immediately just like, okay, see ya, bye, and then gets in the car, which I kind of liked. That whole tension was like didn't amount, like it didn't climax.
But it would have been nice to have him make a comment about like, oh, I guess I have to turn my stick shift back to neutral or something, and then like biddly binky bink boink, and then move on to the next scene. Because I need a bow tied on it, John.
he just gives up and fucks his car.
Yeah.
Right,
how great would that be? No. Alternate universe version.
Yeah.
She drives away and he goes, oh, I can't believe that just happened. And then we have 5 minutes of him lovingly stroking himself off. We just have a full scene.
Just turns into David Cronenberg's Crash.
Yeah. Single camera, dead shot, just on him, dead face, no emotion, just jerking off, staring out of the window. And then he comes and that's it. Just cut to the next scene. No music, no sound effects. He doesn't make a single sound.
He comes in 60 seconds.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Did you know that, so one of the movie facts that this movie's title in Greece was translated to Coming in 60 Seconds. Yeah, or Come in 60 Seconds, yeah.
Wonderful. I love stuff like that. Like what's the famous Pepsi one was like bite the wax tadpole. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was the story is that some slogan got translated to that. So anyway, yeah, they start stealing those cars and they just do. Like, it's not even that thrilling. They just get these cars. This little montage of them stealing these different cars, but there's not chases, there's not action. It's just, and they got this car, and they got
that
this
one car had a snake in it. That happened.
Yeah, well, that's one of the few hiccups they have is that Mirror Man and Sphinx go to steal a car. It's this big purple Humvee that says Snake on the license plate. Turns out there's a snake inside, and they have a minor run-in with the cops, but it doesn't really matter. And the scene's not really that interesting as they push the cops off a parking ramp. It's just, this stuff just happens. And I understand there's 50 cars. You can't lovingly spend time with each car theft, but just much of it.
Out of the 50, you could have an interesting thing happen.
Yeah. But it doesn't. And then the only time something interesting kind of happens, or at least to sort of move the plot forward, as part of Kip's crew, there's a guy that's really good at computers. And he wants to come along on this trip, one of the car heists. And it's just in a suburban neighborhood. And he does, and because of him, they get found out. And then he ends up getting shot. In a way that's not, like, super damaging, but it fucks up the car. And you get a little chase scene. There's a little something that happens there. But that's kind of it.
That's it, yeah. Then he gets taken to a private hospital, and he's fine.
He's fine,
yeah. There's no stakes.
The only thing that really happens is when Nicolas Cage goes try to get Eleanor, which they routinely refer to as his unicorn.
Yeah.
Because every time he's tried to steal it, something goes wrong.
Which, as we all know, the myth of the unicorn is every time you try to steal it, something goes wrong.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be something like Greek mythology or something.
Yeah, or like maybe there's, I don't know, you could have like it could be a white car, and it could be like maybe like his white whale, like the really easy thing that has every bit of like meaning behind it and actually has a bit of bad luck to it and makes complete and utter fucking sense.
Yeah, but
no,
do you really want literary references in a movie about cars go fast?
Hey, you're the one talking about Immanuel Kant earlier.
That's true. But anyway, so he finally decides to go steal this car, and sure enough, Delroy Lindo and Timothy Olyphant are there to try to stop him. And then you get like the one actual chase scene in this movie. Now, in the original, I mentioned that this car crash happens, and a lot of those cars get destroyed in the big final chase. Nothing happens in this big final chase. It's a chase scene, and it's mainly just close-ups of Nicolas Cage expressionlessly driving.
Yeah.
Like they just shake the camera around, and it's like you don't get a scope of...
Well, let's get a little point by point here.
Yeah.
He steals the car, Delroy Lindo, Timothy Olyphant, they find him, they start chasing him. Somewhat exciting chase scene, he's backing up, he's going through like packed streets, blah, blah, blah. Then this is where it goes. He goes into those aquifers or whatever they're called. That because if you have
the LA River, the Terminator 2.
Yeah, those have to be in every single chase scene if you're in an LA movie. And that's when Air One shows up. That's the helicopter that follows him.
Mm-hmm.
Air One goes about 50 feet above the car and starts chasing him.
Yep.
It's like, I can't keep up. This thing isn't a helicopter brand 1. This is a helicopter brand 2.
Yes.
Do you not understand how vision works? And that if you went up, you would be able to see him for farther.
But like, how do you catch him when you're up?
You radio to the cops where he is, and then using your vision, have them place what I like to call blockers of road. Wait, I can shorten that. Roadblocks in front of the path he's currently on, thus blocking the road that he's traveling. And then he would have to stop his car, and then the cop cars behind him would also stop in a way that would, I would like to refer to as impede his travel on the road, like a roadblock.
Well, I think,
like a roadblock.
I think you're missing some subtext here.
Please, I'm sorry.
It's not so much that they can't catch him. It's that there's no overtime allotted for this case. And at 5 o'clock was sitting. So these guys are like, I got to go. And so they left. And this is really the underlying subtext was we need to support our troops, who are cops. The thin blue line.
My mistake.
Yeah.
So they're getting chased. And the one good thing about this chase is they make a point of that he drives to the airport. And they're like, dude, you can't go there. There's like planes landing, like helicopter. You're not allowed to go in flight paths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true, but that's the first time a car running away from a helicopter made sense to me, because it's like, yeah, that rubs. Like, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
Like, you're probably not allowed there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. However, if they just phone fucking up first, that you just follow them with their eyeballs, and probably still true afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, but at a certain point, they do get him. They do corner him on a bridge. Like, there's a bridge that's is packed with cars, and the cop cars surround him. And Nicolas Cage's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. The car's already pretty kind of roughed up at this point. But he's like, well, there's only one thing for it. Because, of course, on the bridge, as on any bridge, there's a truck with a ramp.
Yeah.
It's like down to the ground, because this exists in, I think, Vice City, maybe, or Liberty City. And Nicolas Cage just guns it and flies over the ramps over all the cars that are in his way. And again, this is a thing where it was told with so many quick cuts and like a very like limited sense of place, and mainly just like his face. Like when he's jumping, and I realize it's all fake or whatever, you could just get like a wider shot, like to get a scope of really how far he's jumping. And they're able to communicate that through the cuts and whatever, but it just doesn't feel as epic as if you could actually like see, even if it'd be super fakey, like, oh my gosh, look at this, look at him clear this stuff versus this like through the passage of time through cuts of film.
And the cuts made it feel like he was jumping 1,000,000 feet, which bothered me.
Yeah.
Instead of, you're right. It just, none of that felt in any way, I'm not even just, I don't want to say it didn't feel real, because, but right. It just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't land for me. But so he jumped, and wow, how wonderful. And
so by firing the nitrous and jumping all this stuff, he has fucked up that car. And he gets it to the docks, but guess what? He's 12 minutes late.
12 minutes.
And some Cockney guy is like, oi, you can't be here. You've missed the time. Apples and pears, or whatever Cockney slang he says.
Yes.
And then Nicolas Cage starts throwing a fit, and you're like, okay, cool. This is going to get real Nicolas Cagey now. And it doesn't.
Still doesn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then he runs into tea tree oil. What's his name?
Calitri?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, nope, we're not accepting this car. You're 12 minutes late. He's like, oh, come on, fuck you. It just needs a little bit of work here and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, so but this is the speech where he almost gets Nicolas Cagey.
So close.
He goes, all right, so you take, call that 80,000. You take 80 from 200, 200 from 80. We call it even, and we'll just call it even. And he's so close to going full Nicolas Cage, but he just doesn't.
It's so frustrating.
He gets you to that brink and just doesn't. This movie's like tantra for wanting that Nicolas Cage
you could
orgasm.
Put this movie on Pornhub. You're like, no, this is exactly what I was looking for.
So they're like, no, you can't do that, blah, 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 the whole thing. And then so Doctor Who's going to kill him.
Yeah, because Doctor Who is like, hey, you pulled a gun on me earlier. Fuck you. No one does that to me. And so there's a stupid fight. And then because Delroy Lindo has, in the interim, it doesn't fucking matter, but Delroy Lindo has solved the case. They figured out that it was black light glass that they found in the thing. And then they found all the list of cars they needed to steal, and then realized it was Calitri. And there's this little kind of side story that touches on how homicide is like, hey, we've been on this guy for a while. You can't go after him.
It's so pointless.
That it doesn't matter.
Pointless.
It's this thing that like I understand like adding a little bit of character or weight to the thing that's going on. You don't just want it to be just, yes, mob boss and that. You want to add a little something to it. But it's just, it didn't matter. Like them breaking protocol, even though homicide told them not to. I don't care what these cops are up to. I know that they're trying to stop Nicholas. Like it's a thing like we've talked about with other movies where it's like you're doing too much but not enough. Like it doesn't need the lengths that you're going to, and because you're not going even further, why did you even go this far? Like with Boss Baby or whatever. Like by adding more to it, you've just confused.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't need that whole murder subplot. Yeah. So Kip shows up, saves him. Then there's a big wood fight, and then he grabs a gun, and then they're shooting each other the whole thing. And basically the thing ends with tea tree oil has his gun pulled on Murtaugh.
On Delroy Lindo, yeah.
Exactly. I'm trying to get this as confused as possible because fuck this movie. And Nicolas Cage goes, I'm going to save the cop, and shoulder tackles Doctor Who, and he falls off the Nakatomi Tower and lands on his own coffin.
Yeah, oh yeah, he made a coffin earlier for Kip. That's how he's like, look, I make stuff out of wood. Look, I made this, my first one. It's all nicely, for his first one, it's pretty well made. Like it's
a good coffin.
You put all the little silk stuff in there. And
John, I'm not taking anything away from the coffin.
But yeah, he dies on his coffin, which I kind of like. If you're going to do that, have him land in the coffin and have the lid shut. Yeah. Like he lands on top of it, and probably realistically, like he landed on top of it and kind of off the side. But just, if you're going to be that dumb with it, be that dumb with it.
Yeah, this movie just refuses to pull the trigger on on all the idiocy that it really should.
But so Delroy Lindo, having watched Nicolas Cage just murder this guy in front of him, is like, cool.
Well, he saved his life, was the idea.
Yeah, I know, but he also just killed a guy.
Nah, self-defense.
Yeah, thin blue line.
Exactly.
Support our troops.
And he's like, yeah, I go away. Now, here's the... This is the worst part of the film.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. Like, I'll let you go for now. Nicolas Cage is guilty of all the other stuff, and that's just forgotten about.
Well, they don't have anything on him. Like
They followed him for like an hour. Driving the car through the street.
Oh yeah,
John, remember that whole thing?
Movie.
Yeah. So that's just they just wiped that. I mean, I guess it just wiped away.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Is like, yeah, where are you?
Okay, fine.
Because he didn't other than some destruction of property, no one was hurt.
He was driving a stolen car.
Yeah, which is now like they're still there. They can get it back.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, whatever. So, and then they all get together and like, yay, we did it. We saved people.
Yeah, so they have this awkward barbecue scene at the end. It's them celebrating because most criminals, when they're done with the thing, they don't split. They hang out and have a barbecue.
Yeah.
And
they're more like family.
Right.
Oh, sorry. I just Fast and Furious. Yeah, sorry. I was channeling a better movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just said that.
But it's 100% true. And so they're like, it's the scene where, hey, we're like the Chi McBride is like cooking on a car, I believe, isn't he?
He has like a car barbecue.
Yeah.
A barbecue.
And they're just like, hey, we did it. This is so much fun and great. And then dude that got shot is out of the hospital and he's trying to eat ribs, and Angelina Jolie helps him by feeding him ribs and then licking sauce off his finger in a stupid manner.
Really, really awkward.
And everyone's like, look at that. It looks like a blowjob. High five, bros.
Yeah, she's really hot and we're talking about her right into her face.
She can't hear us. We're speaking in dude tones.
She's object.
Yeah. And then they're like, man, I hope I get shot. That sounds great. And then Vinnie Jones's Sphinx just pipes up with this Silent Bob bullshit about like, I don't even remember.
You know what, dude? You're chasing Amy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what. Yeah. No, he gives a speech about how it was heroic to get shot and to have a heroic thing deserves reward.
Yeah,
and blah blah blah.
Because we're all just pieces of shit. Like it doesn't matter. And then everyone's like, I thought you were from Long Beach. Oh, it's Nicolas Cage. Like, I thought you were from Long Beach. And everyone's like, ha ha ha. We don't need to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then they present Nicolas Cage as a thank you. Kip presents Nicolas Cage with Eleanor, a version of Eleanor, that car that he pieced together from scraps.
Yeah, just like rusted out Eleanor.
Yeah. So it looks like a piece of shit, but he didn't steal it. We're all going straight now.
And they're going to fix it up.
Yeah.
And he drives away with Angelina Jolie.
Yep.
And they cut to black. And then there's a voiceover at the end with Nicolas. You hear the car sputter. He goes, "Oh, don't do this to me now, baby."
Yeah.
What is that supposed to be funny? Is that
yes.
like how is that?
That is what science would call a joke.
Oh boy, that was awful.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I didn't that whole okay, but we can't end this film without talking about this scene. What scene did we forget, John? The dog ate the keys, John.
Oh God, yeah, that's okay. Because I tried to block it out.
Yeah, no, this we're gonna wrap up on this. Movie ends. Yeah. That was the movie, but let's just have a small little.
So because again, like scenes that don't need to be in this movie. So there's this moment where when they have the whole argument about like they figured out that the laser keys are what's leading the cops to them, which they just do. Like there's not even a thing that really like leads them to that conclusion. It just seems like Nicolas Cage just.
No, that made sense because he said they're watching this car because they knew they're 3 Mercedes, so they're watching this car. Then he calls up the guy from Pushing Up Daisies. He's also being watched at that time.
Oh, so they know Mercedes as well.
Yeah, that's what
I missed.
I think that was the deal was that they figured out because those are the only ones that they have keys for, so they must be.
I just figured it was this whole like they're onto us. I guess I didn't put that. I was too dumb for this movie. But
hey, speaking of too dumb for this movie, hey John, why don't you tell what happened to those keys?
So, they're having the whole conversation about it, and that's when you're introduced. I think you see a shot or something of him earlier, but you're introduced to Otto's dog, which is whenever the movie has a dog reaction shot is always a sign of a good quality movie.
Yeah, A+.
But then they're having this argument, and they come back, and they're like, "Oh no, the dog ate all the keys."
Yep.
Normally he eats like license plates or something. Otto has a throwaway line about that. So then there's a section of this movie that we're spending just wasting time waiting for a dog to shit. Yep. That's the tension in this movie. It's like, oh, I hope the dog poops in time.
And they get him X-Lax and Alpo.
And then when Ferb and is it Scott Conn?
Who cares?
Yeah, Ferb and one of these other assholes. No, it's a computer guy, I think. They're out walking the dog, waiting for it to shit, and like these gang of like Mexican gangsters roll up on him. One of them, I think, is Michael Pena, who's a better actor than this. But they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? We're gonna roll up on you and be all stereotypical Mexican gangsters on you." And then the dog poops, and they pull the keys out of the. He's like, "Oh, you're playing with dog shit, SA. Ooh, that's gross." And then they leave.
They run away.
Oh. And so, like, it's a thing where it doesn't matter that happened. That
was in this movie.
Nothing. Yeah. That nothing was at stake from the dog not shitting. Like, it was just a way to have more scenes.
Yeah, and more racism.
Yeah,
got a bit more racism and dog shit and just.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we can't have discussed this movie.
I can't believe I skipped
without
over
that. No. So that was the movie, and let me just. Boy, don't watch this, people at home.
Yeah, it's not. I'm honestly like a little disappointed simply because.
Me too.
You know, we wanting Nicolas Cage, we want Nicolas Cage, but just this was just toothless.
There was nothing here.
Yeah, like I've only just recently seen the first Fast and the Furious, and while I don't think it's that great, there was something there. This is just a lot of just hanging out and. For a movie about cars, it was just like, well, we were able to get all these cars, but here's the thing: the guy that's letting us use these cars, we can't drive them. We can't really drive them very much, so we're gonna have to work around that.
Ugh, man, don't watch this movie. That's what I'm telling you, people at home. And I don't even know if you can watch the original. John saw it. Sounds like it's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, just go to the end and watch car smash ups. Go do that.
Just watch the Fast and Furious. I saw I saw one of them. It wasn't the first one, but it was fun.
Yeah, I ended up watching the first one, and I think it was the fourth or fifth one, because there's one that's called Fast and Furious. That's not the first one, because there's the Fast and Furious, but then there's Fast and Furious, and I ended up renting the wrong one. Be like, oh wait, this is further down the line. So I went back and watched the first one. And then went, you know what? I know the second one's supposed to be terrible, and the third one's Tokyo Drift, which is apparently the best one. I haven't seen it, but I'm like, I bet I can pick up on the Dom story after Tokyo Drift, and it's going to be fine. And yeah, sure enough, it was.
Yeah, I think you can figure it out. I saw one with The Rock in it, and it was fun.
Oh yeah,
I don't know which one that is, nor do I care, but it was fun. So speaking of The Rock, a segue.
All right. Good.
Into what we're going to watch for next episode. Well, here's the problem. The segue was a spoiler for the end of the movie, so I didn't make that segue because I had a really good one.
Oh.
Yeah, see, but I can't do that because then just in case, you know, it's spoiler alerts. So the next movie we're watching is The Rock. No, JK, dog. We're watching The Last Jedi.
The very last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. That's the one with Mark Hamill.
That is the one with the only Star Wars movie with Mark Hamill in it.
Yes. I'm surprised they waited this long for him to be in a Star Wars movie, given that he's Luke Skykiller.
Yes.
Or whatever.
So we're going from
Starkiller? What's the
it was Deke Starkiller was the very
Was that the original one?
Yeah. So doing the latest in the Star Wars pantheon of films.
Yes. It'll be
something. I don't know if you know this.
Ewok.
They started putting women in these movies.
Oh God, I hope they're not empowered.
Oh, that would be terrible. Let's hope not.
Thanks for that. We'll see you next time.
Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.